Welcome to Wonton's World. I'm Wonton, and today's episode is going to be about my Barbarian. It is based off of Rob's WHIRLWInd HOTA Barb, and this thing absolutely smashes everything in its path. My attack power standing without snapshots is 170,000, life 25,000, strength 1,300, and that's massive for damage. So we got base damage, boom. That's that elemental aspect kicking in. And let's go fight Lilith. I will do a full review on the board. Bonk. Now, a lot of people continue to hit Lilith at this point, and all it'll do is build their stagger bar. So if you continue to do that, it'll actually make her do a separate mechanic that'll stop you from being able to kill her. Alright, let's go over some gear real quick. Of course, you got the Harlequin. Alright, so damage reduction and total armor are key. I have overpower damage in here just because I'm trying to hit higher numbers in damage. These gloves are almost perfect. I need to re-roll that strength for probably overpower. That would help a lot. Of course, to Bolt's Will. Some basic boots going on here. Oh, I had the wrong weapon on, guys. Yep, sure did. So this is my normal weapon. We have all stats, strength, core skill damage, damage while berserking. Now, the reason why I have berserking on this is because when I go into a dungeon or a AOZ, I have this one on first for snapshots. If you notice, the gain 60% increased damage to a set of damage types for 7 seconds. I also have it on the ring. So what happens is when you go into the dungeon with this weapon equipped and something else with the same aspect of the elemental aspect, when you go into the dungeon and then you swap to a different weapon, you keep the berserking damage. It takes a picture of that and keeps it. So when you swap to a different weapon, you want critical strike damage, because it'll actually take over the berserker damage that you had on the previous slot. So it'll give you the berserk damage and the crit strike damage. And you are also guaranteed crit strike from Red Fuhrer. And then, of course, guaranteed to overpower. So that guaranteed crit and guaranteed overpower definitely works together very well. I have Heart of Selig on for most of my regular everyday to-day stuff, unless I'm pushing AOZ. Then I throw on Banished Swords. Ring of Red Fuhrer. That 25% resource gen is amazing. Of course, we have the elemental aspect. Overpower, physical damage is awesome. Resource gen and max fury. Grandfather, of course, Doombringer, and then this guy. So all stats, strength, overpower, damage while berserking. That is what you want 100% for these offhands. Go into the skill tree here. So you start off with lunging strike, and what this is going to do is nothing. It's going to allow you to get to the next point. We do not use a basic skill in this build. So Whirlwind is actually our resource generator. Doesn't really do a whole lot of damage, but what you're going to do is use Whirlwind and then HOTA. Whirlwind, HOTA, Whirlwind, HOTA, Whirlwind, HOTA. Notice how I'm not really running out of resources. And then you can just dodge if you do. Come over here, grab Rallying Cry. This is amazing for resource gen as well. If you are using Heart of Selig, this is definitely going to help you keep alive. Multiplicative additional max life, that is wonderful on any occasion. Damage reduction against elites, can't argue with that. Outburst, and then this. So this is basically to apply bleeding damage to every enemy around you that hurts you. And then you gain damage reduction from the bleeding enemies. And then you also do a little bit more damage to bleeding enemies as well. Warcry. So it's going to increase your damage quite a bit for 6 seconds, and allies as well for 3. If you're going in a party, that's awesome. Grants berserking for 4 seconds, which is wonderful. And if there's at least 6 enemies, which there should be if you're using this shout, you get an additional 10% multiplicative. Damage reduction while berserking. We're pretty much always berserking, so we want to keep that up. 9% increased damage multiplicative to close, and 6% damage reduction from distant. So you do 8% increased damage against injured enemies. This one I could keep or take. The reason why I kept it is when you're in a big mob in AOZ and all those little guys are in there, this really helps clear them out. Especially if they have suppressor or something along those lines. Yeah, so each time you take damage, you gain life, or sorry, fortify. And then when you have 45 or 50%, you do 12% multiplicative damage. And that is fairly easy to do. Maximum Fury just gets us to these two. Each time you swap weapons, gain 6 Fury. I'm constantly swapping weapons. I'm constantly gaining Fury. And then you heal for 9% of your life for each 100 Fury you spend. So every time that I do 1, 2, I'm healing. Every time I heal for 2,319 life. Of course, Wrath of Berserker, pretty self-explanatory. And then, of course, Unbridled Rage. Paragon board is pretty simple. So our first glyph is going to be territorial. Let that pause for a second. Then we move on up to the second board, which is Warbringer. And then we're going to put Ire in here. I also really like these guys. Maximum life anywhere is amazing, because that's going to help with your overpower. Alright, so Carnage, the board everyone loves, because we're putting the Tears of Blood in there. My Tears of Blood is level 83 currently. So let's get you a better view of this. Alright, so from there, I think we go down. And then put Crusher into the Blood Rage board. Okay. There's some of that bleeding enemy stuff I was talking about. We do a lot with bleeding enemies, and it's all from Thorns. Alright, so over here in the Decimator board, we want Undaunted. Again, you're always pretty much fortified, so you're always doing extra damage. And then you gain 10% damage reduction based on the amount of fortified that you have. And we're pretty much always fully fortified. And then the last board, we're going to come up here. It's going to be Weapons Master. And there is no glyph here. It's only to get Weapons Master. So swapping weapons grants you 4% of your maximum Fury. That's another way I'm gaining Fury. Again, just 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So that is the Paragon board, guys. I'll throw up a Nightmare Dungeon real quick. Where's 100 at? Could have swore I have one. There we go. Now, since the Tears of Blood update, these Nightmare Dungeons are ridiculously easy. But I'll show you one just to give you an example of kind of what goes on. And how the Fury generation works and everything else. So again, you come up to a pack, Whirlwind. Now, everything died right there. That's because of Hemomancy. So every 4 seconds, it's just going to shoot out a big AoE effect. And it does kill quite a lot of things. And if you guys notice, I'm pretty much holding down Whirlwind when there's enemies, and then I'll just tap Hammer of the Ancients as I'm walking through. There was that Hemomancy again. Nope. Need that card. I gotta say, this build is definitely broken. I think we all know that at this point. But man, is it fun. After playing consecutively squishy classes over and over, it's nice to have one that just runs and wrecks shit. And if anybody would like a better guide on snapshotting, because a lot of people don't fully understand it, I can help with that. Just let me know in the comments, and I'll make a video for you guys. Because it's definitely effective. You can use it in regular Nightmare Dungeons, so you don't have to be an AOZ. So if you're leveling, it can definitely help with your damage output. I always forget those things, man. I can clear it to tier 20 on AOZ. And I forgot the bubbles again. Alright guys, that's my video for today. Again, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to hit me up and ask. I'm super friendly and I'm no problem explaining things. That's all for now. Catch you later.